and welcome to a very special cover story conversation. I have with me Gaurav Gogoi. He is a Congress MP and the Deputy Leader of Congress in the Lok Sabha and the PCC Chief Assam. So, Gaurav, good to have you here. And in fact, you led the debate in Parliament on behalf of the opposition on this new paper leak bill. So, I would first like to congratulate you on that and also the issues that you have raised. If you can just share with our viewers first, and then we'll talk more.
Thanks, Priya. It's good to be here. I think it's very important to discuss education because that's been the sole purpose of the entire movement, which is not only to seek the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan, but to really debate about what are the structural problems of the Indian education system that we see today. And one of the things that I talked about is the fact that there is a stranglehold of the RSS on the Indian education system. And that's something that the leader of the opposition, Shri Rahul Gandhi ji, also said today. Let me just remind you that while the protest was going on, premier institutions such as DU, JNU, people at the IIT, they were giving all sorts of advisories to students to not participate in these protests. And it is surprising that where universities are allowed to be spaces for critical thinking and all forms of protests are allowed in the university space. Here are some of India's premier institutions. And I thought, for me, that was just one example of what is going in institutions across India. Secondly, the thing that I wanted to point out was that while we're talking about this bill, which is having stricter penalties for culprits who have been arrested or arrested by the police for taking part in any paper leak, the track record is not that great because you've had the previous version of this bill in 2024, and despite having the previous version of 2024, which had strict penalties, albeit not as strict as the one that has been introduced in the current version, but nonetheless, there was a high fine. There was a
Imprisonment.
go to imprisonment, and yet the track record was that those key accused in the 2024 NEET paper leak seem to be all out on bail, and nobody has been convicted and nobody has been sent to prison. So you brought in a tough law back then, two years ago, and none of that has shown any result. And thirdly, it was very strange for me that you have the National Testing Agency, in which is responsible for conducting these important examinations, especially the NEET, and the government, removed the DG, the Director General, who basically operates like a CEO. The government removed 47 people working in the NTA. We don't know who these 47 are because actually the sanction strength in terms of the government, sanction strength of the NTA is only 39. So who are these 47 people that the government has removed or suspended or transferred as per media reports? We don't know if they are outsourced or people given on contractual work. Who are they? And 47 people removed, DG removed, Education Minister removed, but NTA chairman remains. The chairman under whose tenure these faults have taken place, the chairman under whose tenure you feel fit to remove the DG and 47 officials. What faith do you have on the chairman? And this chairman is somebody of ill repute because he's somebody that has been pointed out by eminent parliamentarians, including Digvijay Singh, when he was the chairman of the Parliament Standing Committee on Education. He's somebody that has referred to this NTA chairman on many occasions, and therefore this person whose own checkered career means that when he was the chairman of Madhya Pradesh Public Service Commission, there were allegations against him. When he was chairman of Chhattisgarh Public Service Commission, there were allegations against him. And yet he remains. So this paints a picture that this government, is still not serious about reforming education. the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan seems like a damage control exercise because the protests were escalating and the demand was soon would have escalated to the resignation of the Home Minister and Prime Minister. So it seemed like a face-saving measure, and Dharmendra Pradhan seems like a scapegoat for the Prime Minister Modi. And lastly, of course, I did raise that the brutality that took place on 20th of July, nobody could have forget those pictures. It happened just outside Parliament, and it's a sensitive area. The entire security, the kind of action that they took place in terms of pellet guns, in terms of electric batons, in terms of the physical assault on women. Surely all of this would have taken place with the cognizance of Home Minister Amit Shah. And it was strange that here we had 2 days of discussion and Home Minister Amit Shah was absent from the discussion. ये परीक्षा पे चर्चा था, but Prime Minister was absent, and the new Education Minister, he should have actually taken part in the debate, offered his view, even sat in the debate and taken notes. But surprisingly, he was also absent from the entire discussion. He was there for a few minutes, whereas the discussion lasted for more than 12 hours. So it just raises more questions and leaves a very bad taste in the mouth.
I'm going to begin with your last point first because that is also the controversy of the day. Because today Rahul Gandhi has also spoken, and like you, he's also raised similar issues, in terms of accountability, the use of pellet guns, the use of force, and he's directly, and as are you, blaming the Home Minister for this. Now, that is something the BJP has taken offense to, and they are saying, "What proof do you have?" So, what proof do you have, or is it because the Home Ministry, the Delhi Police, comes under the Home Ministry, so you want accountability, or do you actually have people say from the police saying that they were clearly ordered to use this kind of force?
The protest took place in the heart of Delhi, outside of Parliament. Thousands of young people had gathered at 7 a.m. and they were peacefully marching towards the Parliament. At 4 p.m., all this brutality, whether it's the RAF, whether it's people in police uniforms slapping women, we saw a constable shoving a baton in the private parts of a woman. We saw, people bleeding from their head because they were beaten by sticks which had thorns or some form of keels, nails or glass attached to it. So we saw all of this. Surely it could not have happened without the tacit assent of the Home Minister. This is, after all, in Delhi, is outside Parliament. It's a huge protest. Surely this could not have happened without the Home Minister. Is the government trying to tell us that some subdivisional magistrate is taking an action without checking with his seniors, who've not checked with their seniors, who've not checked with Union Home Minister? I mean, who are they trying to kid? So I think this is an image-saving exercise of the Union Home Minister. I think they would have preferred that the opposition forces target Mr. Nitin Gadkari over the ethanol issue. But no, it seems that, what we found, the anger amongst the students and their parents is not just at Dharmendra Pradhan, but after the 20th July police assault that took place, there's a lot of anger against the BJP government, and everybody knows that Home Minister Amit Shah, directly or indirectly, is responsible.
Are you shifting the goalpost because you've tasted blood? You got one resignation and now you want more.
No, actually, it was clearly outlined by Rahul Gandhi outside his residence in a press conference with Neha Bora, who was one of the student activists who went on hunger strike, and he clearly outlined the three demands before discussion took place. He said, and I quote him, that first is the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan. Second is the accountability of the Home Minister for the police brutality on protesters. And thirdly, an expression of regret from the Prime Minister over how this entire episode has been mishandled. Surely it should not have taken nationwide protests. Surely it should not have taken so many protesters being thrashed, so many women being assaulted for the resignation of one incompetent education minister. I think Prime Minister, on hindsight, would also feel that had he taken this decision earlier, he would have also saved his government a lot of face.
Had he sacked the education minister earlier?
Yes.
But now that the way they've had the debate in Parliament, is the Congress satisfied? I mean, you're clearly not satisfied. So, what is the next step that you will take? Because Rahul Gandhi has spoken, and he claimed that he was not allowed to speak and finish his conversation, which is why he held a press conference soon after. What next? What does the Congress want? Because the BJP now is saying that you bring proof. Now, will it all become about the Home Minister now?
Well, it has become an unfortunate tradition amongst the BJP that Prime Minister Modi gives sermons on democracy outside the parliament, never enters the parliament, and yet when LOP Rahul Gandhi takes part in a parliament discussion, puts the government, and puts some hard forward questions in front of the government instead of waiting for their turn and answering Rahul Gandhiji's allegations and questions when it's their turn to reply, they rather stall, disrupt Rahul Gandhiji's speech, and this has happened on more than one occasions. And it's completely unfortunate that the Parliament, which is supposed to be the house of the people, all the many representatives of the student protest ended up meeting Rahul Gandhi. Irfan, that young boy who became so famous on social media for quoting Neeraj and being so articulate, the boy who was shot with pellet guns, the girls who went on fast, the girl who was in battling for her life in ICU, all of them reached. I mean, all of them connected, and Rahul Gandhi connected with all of them. And here, when he wants to express their pain, their anguish, the government is not just stifling Rahul Gandhiji's opportunity, but they're stifling the voice of all those people in Jantar Mantar whose anguish Rahul Gandhi was expressing. So this is becoming an unfortunate tradition. By no means had he completed his speech, and he said many of those things at press conference when Parliament is the forum for putting all these points. There was no unparliamentary thing. And again, all these questions that the BJP are saying, give us evidence, give us proof. Okay, you could have said that when your turn came. Sure, these questions have pinched. Home Minister Amit Shah wants his image to be protected, and the BJP are all ganging up, and they are foregoing parliamentary traditions, foregoing the stature of the position of leader of opposition, only because they don't want the public ire to turn towards Home Minister Amit Shah.
Yeah, I'm going to take a break and come back and talk about some of the other points that you raised in your speech. Especially about the education system and what can be done apart from bringing a law that actually just focuses on punishment and doesn't really attack the matter at hand. I think that's the point that you made. So I'm going to take that after a quick break. Hello and welcome back to a cover story conversation. I have with me Gaurav Gogoi. He's the deputy leader of the Congress in the Lok Sabha, and he actually led the debate against the paper leak from the opposition side. Gaurav, you made a lot of good points on your debate. Of course, now it's all centered around the resignation of the Home Minister. That apart, that point, of course, is going to be played out the next few days. In fact, before I let it go, will the Congress allow House to function, or will you make this the big demand before any other business can be taken up?
We'll have a discussion with our allies tomorrow morning, and we'll see what is the right way to move forward. At the start of this session, we had outlined many issues, including NEET, including Chanda Chori in the Ayodhya Ram Mandir, and the corruption that has taken place in the trust, looking after the Ayodhya Ram Mandir temple affairs, as well as the ethanol E20 issue. We talked about drought and the difficulty which farmers are facing, as well as issues related to the environment, climate change. So far, you can see Jammu Kashmir, Gujarat, Assam, they're all battling with floods, and there's been tremendous loss of public infrastructure. Many lives have been lost as well. So there are a lot of important issues to be raised, and we'll just have a discussion with our allies tomorrow, and we'll take the way forward.
Rather, looking at your Twitter feed, and you've raised the issue of flash floods in Assam, where you said about nearly 70 lives have been lost, but there's been no presence on ground from the Prime Minister. So you're also saying the Prime Minister should make a visit over there, or the PMO is saying that we are monitoring events along with the Chief Minister of the state. So why is the Congress raising such issues?
Well, simply because the Prime Minister loves to travel, but I thought he would love to travel within India to trouble-stricken areas and to meet people in need. He talks about his love for various parts of India and how he has visited them earlier. And of course, everybody in the media talks about the number of visits the Prime Minister makes during an election campaign. Nobody in the media asks, why isn't the Prime Minister not visiting those states in times of flood? He should have gone to Jammu Kashmir. He should go to Gujarat. He should go to Assam. So it's poignant that everybody talks about, oh, he's come 10 times, 12 times, at so many rallies. And then here comes a flood. You want the Prime Minister, the leader of the country, to offer a word of solidarity, to offer words of encouragement, to see the devastation for himself. Because when you see, you are moved, and then you are motivated to do a lot more for the state than what you can do. Otherwise, as you can see, it seems like a routine affair. हाँ, PMO से monitor कर रहे हैं, phone पे हमने पूछ लिया है. It's not a routine flood. It's a natural disaster that has taken place, and a prime minister who loves to visit every small country and take all forms of award. You know, when his own countrymen and women are in need, it's surprising the prime minister chooses to not visit. So that seems quite odd, and it's quite ironic.
There seems to be a theme over here, Gaurav, that all accountability stops at for everything you want the Prime Minister's resignation, from paper leak to Chanda Chori to the floods in Assam. The Congress is now taking it right at the highest level. Nothing else will satisfy you. Is that correct?
But that's the nature of this government. You don't, this is a government where ministers are not powerful. Their PAs are changed overnight. This is a BJP government where the chief ministers don't have sufficient authority. They sometimes don't even know that they would be chief minister. Their name is written on a paper chit, and officers are sent from Delhi to decide all the matters. And Rahul Gandhi himself said that even the education minister does not decide the policy on education. It is a person from the RSS who might be sitting in the office as an OSD, and that's the natural state. So the real powers are the RSS, the Home Minister Amit Shah, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Let us not kid ourselves, and therefore, and this is the nature of the BJP leadership. When it is time to claim success, it is Prime Minister Modi. He is Vishwa Guru, and when it is time to take responsibility, why should we point fingers to Prime Minister? So you cannot have it both ways. If you are responsible for all the successes, and you have to take responsibility for all the lapses.
So we were expecting, for instance, the Congress would also raise the issue of the Ram Temple, because with UP elections coming up, this Chanda Chori becomes a big ticket issue. I think Akhilesh and the Samajwadi Party is very keen to raise that. Do you see that coming up, or will it all now? Because either you raise another issue, or you keep, adamant on the Home Minister's resignation on this use of force.
I think it's, as we said, that we like to consult with everyone, take everyone on board, so that because in the end it has to be a joint opposition effort, and that remains to be a part. We've highlighted the importance of Chanda Chori. I've already outlined that's one of the most important issues, along with NEET, that we have raised. Today, Samajwadi has already started their protest outside Parliament on this issue. So let us see tomorrow what the meeting results in.
Okay, before just a couple of more questions, quick ones. One, of course, is the nature of the protest, the connect of the youth. Now that seems to be, everybody was saying that Rahul Gandhi, being one of at least younger than Prime Minister Modi, had lost that, was not able to make that connect. Do you feel that is happening now in terms of connecting with the youth? And all politicians, should they need to reconsider the way they do politics? I mean, the BJP has told everybody to go on Instagram, but that's really the medium and not the message.
Well, speaking about the BJP, the katni or kadni mein bahut fark hai. The words and actions are so
Your Hindi is
different.
improved, Gaurav.
Thanks so much. I wish you had done this interview in Hindi, maybe next time.
Next time,
But
yes.
if you see what's happening with protesters across the country, they are being targeted, they are being harassed, their Instagram handles are being taken away, their families are being intimidated. I mean, check if they belong to a political party, then like the one of the left parties, then their party offices are being raided. So, while we are talking about reconnecting with the youth, I do fear, and I do have, I wouldn't say fear, that's a strong word, but I do have a concern that this government is really now has this mood of a revenge or some ulterior motive. They have some very malified intentions towards those who participated. Remember, they captured a lot of data through surveillance, through their meta glasses, and we're already getting news. Had we not protested, I think many of the students would have been charged under various FIRs, including in Assam. There were absurd FIRs which were being put on protesters there. And thankfully, both the CJP, the Congress, everybody protested on this, and some FIRs have been rolled back. But I do feel that the government, especially with Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah, might operate with a feeling of vengeance, and it's very necessary to look out for any signs of threat or intimidation that these protesters might encounter. And it's very important for opposition parties to reach out to them, to stand with them, so that they don't, lose the strength that this movement gave them. And I think that's the way of reconnecting, because you reconnect through your work and sincerity. Just by sputtering a few Gen Z lingo and taking a few Instagram, that's what not will connect. Gen Z or any young people person always values authenticity, and I think that's one of the reasons why people, especially young people, like Rahul Gandhi, because of his authenticity.
But I'm seeing some reels being made with some, politicians trying to use FOMO. FOMO is actually not such a Gen Z word, also, but words that language in Parliament, and people are, they are actually mocking them. I think Basuri Swaraj, Tejasvi Surya, a couple of them did use these words. So that's also being
I
seen
think they
as,
should just give up. I think, I mean, it's all fine to remember a few words for a speech. There is absolutely no way that you're going to remember all the new Gen Z lingo. For me, Priya, what I really liked was the poetry that was being used during the protest, and that's the flavor that I brought in my speech. It was heartening to see young people quoting Neeraj, Gopal Das. It was heartening to see young people quoting Dinkar. It was heartening to see young people quoting Wasim Bareli. And for me, somebody from the Northeast, rather than learning what the new lingo is, I rather learn about these poets from other parts of India from the past, whose poetry and whose words have such resonance and have such weight. And I'm glad that the young generation, who we think have forgotten the beauty of old Indian songs, whether that be Give Me Some Sunshine or Rang De Basanti, but they have gone back even further by looking at these poets and writers from the 1930s and 1940s.
that's how old are your kids, Gaurav?
One will turn 10 and one will turn 6.
6. Okay. So are they too young to be involved in politics? Otherwise, I was going to ask you, what do they expect from politicians?
I don't know. I'm surprised that in the last PTA meeting, one of the teachers actually asked them, my elder one, this question, and he said that he has not thought about it, but he's glad that his father's putting no pressure on him. So I was quite amused when the teacher shared this conversation. There was absolutely nothing that we talk about. We don't bring work into our conversations with our children.
Oh, that is good. But finally, there is also talk now that the Home Minister, they are also thinking of some ways of changing the narrative. And one way to do it is to bring back the Delimitation Bill. Are you worried that they will be able to pass it because some of your own allies may be jumping ship, for instance, the DMK?
I mean, let us also first take a step back and see what gives this government the confidence to bring back the delimitation after it suffered a defeat, a very significant defeat in the previous session. And it is the fact that they are literally stealing people's mandate by breaking MPs from regional parties. So we've had vote chori, we've had paper chori, and now we have Sadan Chori. So they're literally altering the strength of the various opposition parties by luring, by intimidating, by using ED, CBI. I mean, coming back to the subject of this discussion, CBI has not charge sheeted the main accused in the 2024 paper leak. CBI has not given its closure report as demanded by the Delhi High Court on the UGC net paper leak. But come to break a political party, CBI, ED, they will all come together. This is the government that, which boasts of being the fastest growing economy, the fourth largest economy, and now the entire world knows that this government cannot conduct one examination per year. This is the stature of the Indian governance. But when it comes to breaking political parties and MPs, the entire machinery, they seem to be so efficient. Where is that efficiency when it comes to paper leak? But let us see that this is one thing, the nature of defection and how easy it is to defect. I think that should give the public larger concern. And coming back to the actual numbers, we're always in touch with our allies. We know a few have some concerns, especially which has come up after the recent elections. But nonetheless, we're convinced that we see that we should not allow BJP to steal people's mandate or weaken democracy, whether through the Delimitation Bill or through any other bill.
On that note, Gaurav Gogoi, always a pleasure to talk to you. But now I
Thank
think the
you.
next interview will definitely be in Hindi. I'm quite impressed by your use of language and your love for poetry. That's something I didn't know about you. So hopefully we'll do another interview soon, but in Hindi this time.
Thank you, Priya.